I'm going to call the Monday, December 17th, 2018 Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. We have Selectman Howdy Goodwin, Mike Mansalilli, Mackenzie Jewett, Jamie Thurlow, myself, Kevin Buck, Town Manager Chris Saunders, Town Clerk Katie Dan Duran, and members of the public. Adoption of agenda. Does anyone have any changes to the agenda? Approval of minutes. We have the minutes of December 3rd, 2018.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of December 3rd, 2018.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of December 3rd, 2018. Any discussion? All those in favor? Approval of warrants. We have warrant 65 for $8,309.25. Warrant 66 for $15,634.51. Warrant 67 for $10,454.98. Warrant number 68 for $301.91. And warrant number 69 for $44,157.83.
I'll make a motion to approve warrants 65 through 69.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve warrants 65 through 69. Is there any discussion?
I'm just going to approve 65 through 67.
All those in favor? Okay, financial reports.
All right. So not too much to report this month. Things are fairly quiet as we are settling into winter. On the revenue side, I called out a new revenue line called loan proceeds, which is the loan for the fire truck, $300,000. It has now been deposited into our accounts, and so it's leading expenditure from the fire chief. On the expenses side, we have had a number of attorney fees since the last report, still lower than anticipated at this point through the year, but there have been a variety of issues like the library general contractor contract, reviewing that contract, fireworks ordinance, pending land use violation litigation, that kind of stuff. So another big change since last month is we paid Harbor House their annual contribution of $20,275. Jumping down to solid waste is always a highlight for me. Overall for this cost center, we're at 41% of the budget for the year. We're right on target because we are today, or at the end of November, 42% of the way through the year. So that's still tracking where we would hope it to be. And then the last thing that I wanted to highlight for you was the Seal Cove Fund. Expenses for the year are at $6,600 or so. And revenues are only at about $5,200. So there's an operating deficit of approximately $1,400. That is entirely because of the major repair to the Dolphin that had to be done. It was damaged during a storm last winter. In order to try to minimize that deficit through the rest of the year, we're going to, sprint and save every penny. And so we've asked our trash disposal company to remove the dumpster, and we've asked our portable restroom company to remove the restroom. So otherwise, I have no concerns.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Anyone got any questions? Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the July through November 2018 financial reports as presented by the town manager.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the July through November 2018 financial reports as presented by the town manager. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thanks, Chris. Okay, regular business. Amera needed an easement signed basically to run the power for the solar array across the town property. So we'll have that in a signature package. Does anyone get any questions on that?
I make a motion to sign an easement with Emera to access and maintain a utility line on town property.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to sign an easement for Emera to access and maintain a utility line on town property. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Can we have an update on how that's going there?
I haven't talked with them since Friday. They had approximately half the solar panels on. All the steel's up. They've done most of the earthwork. All the ballasts are in place. They were running the wiring had mostly been done. They're waiting on Emera or whoever to set a pole so they can run the aerial power line to feed it. The transformer base is in. I don't believe the transformer's there yet. And that was as of Friday. If there's more update than that, I'm not aware of it. I think that's the majority of it, though. They look like they're online to be done by the end of the year.
Great.
Okay. Item B, nonprofit organizations. We've had several, including some new ones, asking for funding. Is there anyone here with any of these organizations?
I'm
Okay.
here from Families First.
I'm sorry?
I'm here to represent Families First,
Okay.
which is a new request.
Okay. Could you explain it to us a little bit?
Yes, I think you got your packets from our president. I can just give a short description of what we're trying to do. I'm something called a CAP, which is we have a board of directors, we have volunteers, and then we have this band of about 20 people in between who commit to more than just casual volunteering. We try to really help the board keep this project going because it's a big undertaking. It's been underway for about 2 years. A house has been bought in Ellsworth and been renovated to accommodate homeless families with minor children. The project is primarily focused on children, parents too, of course, but just trying to break some of the generational poverty by special kind of focus on the children. So when the structure and everything is completed in the spring, it will have 6 apartments. People who wish to apply for the apartments will be reviewed. The expectations will be explained to them. They're pretty stiff. Not everybody is going to want, even if they're homeless, not everybody is really going to feel that they want to get involved because there will be no smoking, no alcohol, no drugs. So as soon as if you break any of those, it goes off. But people will be welcome to live there with their children, minor children, we're hoping in the neighborhood of 12 months to 18 months. During that time, everything is provided for childcare, a lot of training in things like nutrition, parenting, some job skills, preparation for interviewing for jobs, and the end result hopefully is that within that given amount of time to prepare the parent or parents of these children to be able to live on their own, to be able to get a job. That's a list for that too, but to get a job, be able to afford an apartment that's size appropriate for their family, and have transportation, public transportation, or if necessary, in other words, you have to be able to get their own transportation. And it may take 18 months for some families, but we have all kinds of services that we've been gathering, because we're also having an outreach program across the county, and anybody who is homeless or near homeless, living on couches, tents in the summertime, is more than welcome, invited in fact, to come and meet with caseworkers who we will have in the spring, and go through their needs and try to get help without living in the house, be able to get caseworker services, even if they can't, even if they don't make it into the house, because certainly there will be way more than 6 families wanting help. So as you can tell, it's a huge undertaking, but there is nothing like this in Hancock County. I mean, the Emmaus Center is wonderful, but it's wonderful for adults. And the people who put this together were people who either worked or volunteered there. And they realized that additional services were needed for families with kids, because the kids were watching adult TV. There was no playroom for the children. Families were living like in one room, very temporarily.
Okay.
You probably know a lot of this already, so if you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer.
Okay, thanks. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you. Other organizations, too?
I'm here with Harbor House.
Okay.
We had two funding requests, one for the Campfire Coalition and one for our youth programming.
Mhm.
And our requests are the same as the request we had last year. Campfire Coalition is heating assistance. 100% of the money goes directly to people that need assistance with their heating. And our youth programming is both sports programming and the free after-school programming at Harbor House.
Okay, thanks.
Nothing new there.
Anyone have any questions? Okay. I think I saw more hands, too, of different organizations.
With the Vermont Historical Society, excuse me, a request for funding as we have had for many years to help us to carry the museum forward and work on digitizing our holdings and also to work more and more as time goes on with other museums and historical societies to share resources.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, hi, I'm with Camp Beechcliff. We've submitted an application this year to support campership scholarships for Tremont residents. Last year, we had 31 campers from Tremont for 124 weeks. We also had 8 Tremont campers that we provided a little under $6,000 in camperships for. As the largest sort of daycare option on the island in the summer, we provide camperships for. We worked with the local schools. We provided a letter from Ann at the Tremont Consolidated School. We worked with her to identify campers that would benefit and families that would benefit from the camp experience and also from having that daycare option for their kids. So we've not applied before, but we're applying to partially have the town partially cover those scholarships for the Tremont residents.
Thanks. Okay. Anyone have any questions? Okay. Is there anyone else representing any of these other organizations?
For the Fremont Southwest Ambulance Service.
Okay.
And we were asking for an increase this year, approximately 9% increase. Last year we had about 400 runs. I think this year we're just slightly over 300 runs, so revenue is down. Some expenses are up this year, insurance and costs. So that's
Okay. Thanks. Again, anyone have any questions?
Can I speak to an adjustment to packet?
Sure.
So there were 2 organizations that did not submit applications this year that did receive funding last year. Those are Counties Community Partners and Counties Horizons. Their total funding added about a little just shy of $4,000 to my calculation of what FY19 funding was. I apologize that I omitted that. So if you want to use this as benchmarks, solely up to you, but I'm preparing my FY20 budget proposal off of the 2.8% COLA, cost of living adjustment. That's what Social Security is going up by next year. So that's what I'm sort of pegging it to. So if you went up 2.8% in terms of your nonprofit donations, that would take you to $84,795. So as you're going through these, if you want, I've got my spreadsheet pulled up here and I can give you running totals where you're at and you can decide from there.
Now, why don't we go through them one at a time?
Yep.
Right down the list. And families first is first.
Okay. I will make a motion to request that the town manager include Family First Community Center in the amount of $1,000 in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget. All right.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to request the town manager to include $1,000 for Families First Community Center in, okay, for the proposed fiscal year 20 budget. I think that covered it. Any discussion?
I don't think we should add as many as we have on here. I mean, I think out of necessity, we have to add Lifeline, Camp Beach Cliff. But I think some of these other ones, we've got quite a $12,600 difference in what we spent last year, if we added everything. And I think that, we need to have the ambulance service, but I think we're gonna have to pick and choose some of these and just move forward with the ones that we've used in the past, instead of spending a lot more money. Just my opinion.
Yeah, and if you went off the number what you just told us, Chris, was 4,000 added on, so actually, I know it is more, but it would be more like 9,000 difference, right? Between.
Yeah.
Yeah, between the
It's
two
still a
years.
lot of money.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yep, for sure.
What are your thoughts specifically on this one?
I would say I would pass probably on this one. I'm sure it's a great organization, but I'm trying to look for stuff that's necessity for, that's gonna benefit the residents in town the most. And I mean, I hate to pick and choose, but I think that's kind of our job.
I know, it might help if we didn't do some of the increases as well, or cut back on a few of them, maybe adjusted them just a little bit.
I mean, an ambulance service you kind of have to
Yeah.
have, and that's one thing that I would have a hard time saying you can't increase it, but
How do you feel about 500?
I don't.
Okay.
I think once we start adding them, I mean, we could add every year, we could add five organizations. We just have to draw the line in the sand somewhere.
I agree. I do like this one though. I mean, I do think that there are other ones that I would choose to cut before this one.
I'd still like to see about 500 here, at least.
Okay, that's fair.
What if we did that? That would be a good compromise to.
You want to redo your motion, or?
Sure. I will make a motion to amend my previous motion and request that the town manager include Families First Community Center in the amount of $500 for the proposed fiscal year 20 budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to request the town manager to include $500 for Families First Community Center in the fiscal year 20 budget. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I do understand there are so many worthy nonprofits needing help, and I understand that
Yeah.
you can't do it all. I so much appreciate that you're willing to give us help at the start.
Thanks. Okay, Hospice Volunteers of Hancock County.
I'm here for that.
Okay,
I don't know if anybody else is.
okay. Would you like to speak to us? I mean, is there anyone that's not familiar with what hospice is, I guess?
I could give a, just a, if you'd like.
Sure, if you'd like to give us a brief summary. If you'd like to give us a brief summary, that'd be fine.
The Hospice Volunteers of Hancock County are the volunteer part of the hospice program. And we have people who go into homes and do a variety of services to families. The part that I personally play is I sing with the Even Song a cappella group. We sing for families or people in their homes or in hospitals or nursing homes or wherever they are. But other people go in and are more on the care-based daily kind of services.
Okay,
So that's kind of what we do.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There's just a $200 increase on that one.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, someone want to make a motion?
I will make a motion to request that the town manager include hospice volunteers of Hancock County in the amount of $1,000 for the proposed physical 20 budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to request the town manager include $1,000 for hospice volunteers of Hancock County in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, Life Flight, that's another new one.
Is Life Flight new?
We haven't funded them before, I don't believe.
We haven't? Okay.
No.
Very much a necessity.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah,
I think we should do.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to request that the town manager include Life Flight in the amount of $780 in the proposed physical 20 budget.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to include Life Flight, to request the town manager to include $780 for Life Flight in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, Barn Arts Collective. No one here from the Barn Arts.
Okay, personally, I think this is one that we need to either cut or skip.
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 Is it, I'm hearing 3 people in favor of skipping it.
Is that
Okay.
ridiculous?
Skip.
Okay.
I mean, I hate to say that, but I think like Mike was saying before, we need to spend our money wisely, and there are definitely other programs that I feel might be better. Okay, better's not the right word, but
Necessity.
differently
Yeah.
suited, I guess.
Yeah, Okay, do you want a motion that, okay. Okay, on to Camp Beach Cliff.
What was the decision on that? No?
No,
No.
sorry, Mel, I'll try to speak up, so.
Thank you.
Okay, Camp Beach Cliff, excuse me. Any thoughts there?
Trying to think if we could.
I think Camp Beach Cliff is important.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, there's not a lot of camps on this. And they pick your kids up, and I mean, I've sent kids to Camp Beach Cliff.
too.
So we know if we approve this 3,000, it's going for people in Tremont.
It would be restricted and designated for Tremont.
Just for Tremont residents.
Well, that,
Yeah.
I guess we can justify that then.
Then I'll make a motion to request that the town manager include Camp Beach Cliff in the amount of $3,000 in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to request the town manager to include Camp Beach Cliff in the amount of $3,000 in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, Tremont Historical Society.
I'd like to suggest something if I might.
Sure.
In this much, excuse me, we had a surplus this year due to the fact that we went to all the taxpayers in the town and sent them a letter, a fundraising letter a year ago, and received something like 2,700 unexpected dollars. And some of those people have become, will continue to be yearly contributors. I would like to suggest that we amend that amount of our request from 3,500 to 2,500.
Well, that's definitely more palatable. Thank you.
I think we
Definitely
should,
help.
we should approve it.
Yeah.
What, I'm gonna make
Yeah.
a motion that we approve $2,500 for the fiscal year 20 request from Tremont Historical Society.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to request the town manager to include $2,500 for the Tremont Historical Society in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, the WIC program. I think that's pretty valuable under there also.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I've got no problem with that amount.
It's very slight increase.
I'll make a motion to request that the town manager include the WIC program for $720 in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to request the town manager to include $720 for the WIC program in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget. Any discussion? All those in favor? Bar Harbor Food Pantry. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea. Last year's it seems to work right now. I think it's worth funding, but
What did we go for?
it was 2,000. and ours was 25. Yeah,
That sounds
I
good to
think
me.
that's okay.
And then I'll make a motion to request that the town manager include Bar Harbor Food Pantry in the amount of $2,000 for the proposed fiscal 20 budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to request the town manager to include $2,000 for the Bar Harbor Food Pantry in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget. Any discussion? All those in favor? Island Connections.
Same as Bill was last year's on that also.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
What do you think?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Let's go with the
Yeah.
previous budget.
Make a motion to request that the town manager include Island Connections in the amount of $1,500 in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to request the town manager include $1,500 for Island Connections in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, Southwest Harbor Tremont Ambulance Service. I think that's one of the critical ones.
Yeah, of course.
I'll make a motion to request that the town manager include Southwest Harbor Tremont Nursing Service in the amount of $48,000 in the proposed fiscal 20 budget.
I think you want the ambulance service in Mackenzie, maybe?
Yeah, it's called
Oh,
the nursing service.
Nursing service.
Yeah.
I can
Listen
tell you
to-
a little bit about that. It's incorporated by the nursing service many, many years ago, but now it goes under the name of ambulance service.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Southwest
So
Harbor
either
Tremont
one
Ambulance
works.
Service.
Either or.
Like, hey,
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to request the town manager to include $48,000 for the Southwest Harbor Tremont Ambulance Service in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget. Any discussion? All those in favor? What's that?
Island Explorer.
Yeah, Island Explorer.
I have one question about Island Explorer. Do they go to the lighthouse?
Good idea.
I don't think they currently do because of the restrictions in town.
Okay,
I think that was what the park officials are saying. They're trying to.
okay. Okay,
You tried.
I tried.
Make it continue.
I'm like, can we get them to go to the lighthouse?
They go to the corner.
Right,
Yeah, they go to
Right,
the
but
ferry terminal.
they
and-
can't.
Yeah.
probably turn around. and-
Yep.
Still, I think it's important.
Yeah. I'd ag-
I agree.
I agree.
I'll make a motion to request the town manager include Island Explorer in the amount of $3,000 in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to request the town manager to include Island Explorer in the amount of $3,000 in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? MDI Campfire Coalition. And that was a heating fuel for,
Do we know
Peter.
how many Tremont residents
I
applied,
think that was it.
or is there a campfire guy? Here. Oh, over here.
Yeah,
Sorry,
the,
wrong side.
out of, last year, out of 93 total people that received assistance, 26 were from Tremont. And they received a value of roughly $275 each. It depends on the kind of fuel they get. You know,
Yeah.
some people
Yep.
get wood delivered or, you know, whatever kind of heating is available in their house.
I think this is important because
Oh, yeah.
it picks up sometimes where general assistance doesn't in the town. so.
Yeah.
Good, you guys?
I'm good with that.
I'm good.
Yeah, me too.
I will make a motion to request that the town manager include MDI Community Campfire Coalition in the amount of $3,000 for the proposed fiscal 20 budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to request the town manager to include MDI Campfire Coalition in the amount of $3,000 in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget. Any discussion? All those in favor? Harbor House. Same request as we've seen in the past and funded.
I'll make a motion to request that the town manager include the Harbor House Community Service Center in the amount of $20,275 in the proposed fiscal 20 budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to request the town manager to include Harbor House for $20,275 in the proposed fiscal year 20 budget. Any discussion? All those in favor? And Eastern Agency on Aging, Eastern Area Agency. No one's here from this organization. I'm not sure what they do. I mean, I saw the description.
Again.
Skip.
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 Okay.
Chris, do you have calculator? He's just gonna see.
I was going to ask where we were
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, how bad is this?
I'm writing it down here.
I also wanted, I did receive an email today, I think. Someone said that they weren't sure whether they were pointing maintenance. I think that was the area. We are at 86,275.
1,500 roughly, yeah.
So 86,275, so we were,
Correct.
we were 82,675 last year.
82,486.
486, okay.
So we're pretty close.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
Looks good.
Okay, thanks. Okay, Bass Harbor Memorial Building Project.
Yeah, I make a motion, we table this till next meeting. We just got the big special bids in tonight. I think the select board should have a chance to review them before we make that decision tonight.
Did I ask for the reason for postponing that?
Because we just got bids from everyone tonight. They just passed them out. We had a chance to review that.
I think they've been available for a while, haven't they?
Not to the select board, haven't been passed out to the select board.
My only thought is the library has had time to review them all, right?
This has been
Oh.
an ongoing process, basically all fall. We've had a building committee composed of members of the board and citizens involved. And it's been reviewed up one side and down the other. I mean, if you feel you've got the expertise or want to take the time to review these, I would say, you know, fine, but we've done the legwork, and, you know, I'm gonna defer to Mike Hayes, who's been the leader. He's been the chair of the building committee to talk about process, but,
Well, when were the bids open?
6 weeks ago.
And they're public,
I can look it up.
well, no, but they're public information once they're open. They're-
You know,
And-
at the town
Okay,
offices.
and they're
They
public,
were announced,
they're public, the bids are public, available for public
yes. yes.
at the time they're open. Okay.
It's my understanding that the person that you want to give the bid to, you renegotiated with him for a higher bid than what he originally bid. Is that true?
No. We eliminated the highest three bidders initially because they were too overpriced. We then focused on the three other bidders. We had previously agreed as a committee on a matrix that we would look at, in which price was one factor, but not the only factor. So we evaluated all of the initial bids using that matrix. We then, each individual member of the committee went off and filled out their own matrix, which was a point scoring system. We came back together, looked at it, and we ended up with a unanimous choice for New Yankee Builders as our first. They were actually the lowest bid at that point.
I mean, I have no problem with that. I mean, I know New Yankee Builders very well. I've worked with Damon for many years, and I have no problem with him. I just don't understand the higher, from what he bid, why we.
We were, first of all, let me back up and say, we want this to be a good contract and a fair contract to everyone. His price for the phase one, which was the addition, and everybody else's were really close. We were concerned that his price for the renovation just struck us as being low. And we met with him to go over it and said, we want to make sure you're really including everything that ought to be included. And we said, if you want to go back and look at it again and give us another number, that's fine. I mean, again, remember, he's still our first choice, and it's not strictly based on the amount of the bid. He went back, it came back in, it was higher, but it was still the lowest bid. And it was inside our budgetary envelope. We have enough money to cover his bid. It's a not to exceed contract, and he included things in that were optional on the contract. So he came back with a higher number, included some things that were optional in the sense that we needed to know what they would cost if we wanted to do it. So we were allowed to do it, and he still came back in as the lowest of the bids.
But didn't, in the first bid that we started with, didn't that only bidder try to do the same thing and you wouldn't allow that? He tried to negotiate with you guys? or-
No, the bid was never inside our budget envelope, ever. You know, we've got a certain amount that we can spend, and that's all we can spend. And any bid that would come in higher than that level, we can't accept because we couldn't pay the bills. We couldn't, accept the contract. This bid came in at that, within that building envelope that we had set for ourselves. And we tried to do the very best job we could to make sure that we looked at all the factors involved here. We're satisfied that he's a fine builder, great reputation. We're gonna get everything we wanted, a few things
Oh, I have no
more.
problem with this building. I know
And we
he's a
just,
good builder.
we just really wanna move forward. That's,
I just don't know how you can negotiate with him on a higher bid when they don't go back out to bid.
what we don't want is pick somebody who's gonna go broke halfway through the project, or 3/4 of the way through the project.
That's why
We
you
have to
come
make sure that it is enough in there to pay for the project and to be a reasonable business deal. That's all. We could have just accepted it, going in, but none of the members of the building committee felt comfortable doing that we just were concerned that it was too, frankly, it was too low.
What were your top three bidders' numbers, like the total, excuse me, the totals
The,
for each three?
The first, do you want the bid that came in or the final icon?
Well, the final, I
The
guess.
final was 339.5 all in.
Okay,
I believe the next one was I want to say 46, 42, and did not include a $3,200, I think, option for a
okay,
dumbwaiter. And then the other was, oh my God, 400 plus. I mean, it
Okay.
was,
Yeah.
we would have had to value engineer our way to $100,000.
Yep.
And that just seemed irrational to think that we could do that.
thanks.
I
Mike?
just want to know what kind of precedence it sets for people bidding on a project to increase a bid by $30,000 without completely rebidding it. I just don't think that's a good practice for the town to get in.
If it's still the lowest bid, it's good. Were you one of the other bidders?
I was.
You were select.
I don't think I honestly don't think that's germane. This was the lowest bid. It gave us everything we wanted and more. And like I say, it was not just the bid price. It was references, it was experience. It was a feeling of a good fit between the board of the library and the architect and the clerk of the works. They're all gonna have to work really closely on that. Our recommendation is New Yankee Builders, and we would like the board of selectmen to approve this motion to offer that contract.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Mike?
What was missing from the $30,000 bid?
We think he simply underestimated the level of remodel. We didn't ask him to specify what.
But he had the same set of plans that we did, nothing
He
was
had the
modified.
same, he had the same set of plans.
Okay, thanks.
Howdy has a motion on the table. Do we have to do anything? with that?
Wasn't a second.
Okay.
No, I don't.
I mean, I feel it's important that we support our board, and if this is what they want, I mean, they've done all the legwork, they've done all of the work. And I think it's unfair to push them into a contract that's either too expensive for them or uncomfortable. I mean, this is their project. So I'm going to make a motion to award the general contractor contract for the addition and renovation of the Bass Harbor Memorial Library to New Yankee Builders for the not to exceed amount of $339,500.
You gonna second it or?
No, I don't think. I would for the original amount, I would for the first, the bid that came in at, I don't know.
It's their money,
I know.
They've raised
And
it
they've raised
all,
it.
and
Yep.
people gave them
No, I
money
know.
for their specific wishes, and
Yep.
it's,
I'll second the
I've
motion.
got a question.
No taxpayer money.
right.
Yes.
It's on behalf of the town.
Yeah.
We're doing this in the interest of the town of Tremont.
Yeah.
So when you say it's our money, it's really the town's money. And
But you guys worked hard to get here.
yes, we did.
Mhm.
And I guess the question I would ask is if you don't approve the motion as written, that bounces it back to us to try and figure out how we're gonna downsize the project, because we don't have enough money. What would we do? Go out to bid again? I don't know what the procedure would be.
I just want to emphasize one other thing. It is not strictly the money. There are other components of this. Experience, references, fit with the board. Those all are critical. And I can tell you that there is nobody else in that list that's going to score higher. And so I don't know what we do now. We can afford it. We have confidence in this builder. We're gonna get everything we wanted and more. I just don't know where we go if you say no.
I have confidence in him. He's a very good builder and reputable. But I just don't think we should go with the original bid that he put in.
But if that's not gonna get the job done, then what's the point?
Well, that's what he bid to begin with, so.
We've modified this package several times to get the budget to fit the project that we can have. Now, you've known, we've been here before when we had that other addition on the back of the building that there's no way we could get that done. So this has been reworked and massaged many times by many people. I mean, Jamie, when you get a project and somebody comes in, you come up with a number and the customer changes something or they find out something that's been omitted, you can't just toss it out.
No.
Well, it's gonna sink.
Yeah.
So you lock off 30 grand off this deal here, it's gonna put a severe dent in the whole package. You're not aware of what actually went on with all the machinations with the meetings with the people. So again, I requested you award the entire amount that we requested. That was what we feel is necessary for the job.
I just want to point something out that wasn't there. In the agreement, in writing, there is a statement that we will continue to look for other cost savings in here. We still think there are some things that we can do, and that's standard in any contract when you get down to the short strokes. It's like, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. We can save you 2,500 here, we can save 5,000. That's what we're trying to do, is to find those savings. I wish it were less, but this is it, and this is who we want.
There's no gravy on this job.
Yeah.
This is cut to the bone.
Tim?
Yeah, on my end, it's covered with bone on that job, yes. You people as select men really, or select people, sorry, really need to think about this because, you know, you put something out to bid, low bidder, whether it's you, him, somebody goes in, at 309, I got no issues. You're looking out for town's best interest. I have concerns afterwards if you, well, he didn't figure enough money. Well, you can back out. But in order to negotiate, because I knew where the other guy's bid was at that point, you know, I'm talking from experience because I've had these situations before. And it's tough because you're opening yourself to a big can of worms right down the line. And I totally understand somebody being more comfortable with somebody or whatnot. And if they both put in a price, say 309 and one at 312, and you want this lady here instead of me, because you're more comfortable with it, I can understand all that. The part that I don't understand is this negotiated afterwards. And I think you open a can of worms. That's my opinion.
It's the wrong way of doing business.
Right, it's a business person.
Exactly.
What do we do?
Did you
Take
make,
it out for bid a third time?
did you,
Well,
were there any substantive changes, additions on the increased bid?
the,
I,
there was,
Away with triple pay.
we did away with triple pane, which was all part of our plan.
No.
The dumbwaiter was an option that was included in the 339.5 price.
which wasn't included in his original bid. That's
No,
what
it's
I'm
not
getting.
included in-
Okay,
in-
so,
in
so
the
you
original
put some extras in this after you were, that's what I'm trying to get at. Did you sit in a room and say you thought his bid was too low and you ought to give him more money, or did you negotiate some changes? I guess that's the part I'm not understanding.
We negotiated changes, but we wanted to make sure that this was a good and fair contract.
Okay,
That's all we wanted to do.
okay.
To vote the town. And I will go back, there's not a nickel of taxpayer town money in this project. Every nickel going into this project was raised by the library board. This is what we want and this is who we want. I can't understand why you won't support us in this. I mean, this is, for most of us on the board, this has been 4 years out of our lives. 4 long years, endless meetings, endless angst. We just want to move forward.
No, I agree. I do support it. I just was unprepared, without knowing the new additions to the you know, I was under the impression that it was coming in at the price that was bid on, and when it came in with extras, I mean, I would feel more comfortable awarding the bid as proposed. If you add on extras later, then those are extras. You know, if there was something else that you wanted them to do in addition to.
This should be done as change orders. and
Yes.
Approved.
I do agree.
But you want to go into a project automatically knowing that they're going to submit change orders? I mean, right now, we
Yes.
know the amount.
Yes. Your project will be changed orders. The price might be less or it might be more. If it's more, we'll have to go back to you again. If it's less, we probably won't have to, but you'll see a reduction in it. That's a not to exceed.
Either
price
way,
that
they
we're
gotta
talking
be
about.
approved.
What we're trying to avoid is going back to you folks every
I'd like,
30, 90 days.
I'd like to ask the question because the contract currently calls for the ability and the process for change orders. Those change orders have to come back to the Board of Selectmen after the contract is signed.
So the draft of the contract allows for change orders, but this, all along, we've been talking about a not to exceed price, so even if there were change orders that increase increase one part of the price, it was always my understanding it wouldn't have increased the overall top line, that 339,500. And so if the total cost did end up exceeding the not to exceed price, then yes, you would have to come back to the Board of Selectmen.
But not under.
No, if it went under.
And if we accept the bid, but it's not a not to exceed price, then I mean, part of the negotiation was, we want a not to exceed price, period. And that's what we wanted.
And you didn't, I mean, they bid it, it was all bid on the same piece of paper. I mean, and, I tend to agree with Danny, I just, you know, when you're bidding it, and everybody's got the same piece of paper, you get the same thing to go through, same thing to go over. The prices come in, that's your price, when you put your price in, you either take it at that price, or you back out. You know. the
And
builder
when
has
the
the
job
option.
changes, what do you do then?
Who's changing it?
The changes happens with where the budget is, and when we can't complete the complete job, so we had to modify the bid. In the bid. was-
Everybody bid the same
In
thing.
the bid, there
The
was.
drawings are the drawings.
Well, but there were two different ways you go. You go with a triple pane window or double pane window.
What did the
You go
drawing
with-
say?
Pardon me?
What did
The
the drawing?
drawing didn't specify. The drawing said you can bid double pane or
Either way.
or triple pane.
Addendums.
I mean, every house got a double pane usually.
Some get triple pane.
I guess the part that I just would like to be,
So, yeah,
So we'll find out.
excuse me, Mel. Sorry, Mel.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Is the increase options that were, that you had in the package, there were optional bidding, or was there some kind of renegotiation? I think that's the gist of it. I mean, if there are some optional, such as a dumbwaiter, I know has been mentioned. Is that what the change is in the bidding, the option?
That's not all of it.
No,
There were
but-
some concerns about vapor barriers over the existing facility and how we were gonna tie those off and the extra insulation. There's quite a bit of conversation about insulation. Did we have enough? Did we have too much? There's the heating system. There's a fair amount of back and forth about the number and size of the heating pumps, and do we need a propane backup heat system and things like that that were, you know, we went back and forth on. I just, you know, I guess I'm just flummoxed. You know, we tried to do everything that we're supposed to do, you know, and we're comfortable with who we have, we're comfortable with the price, we can afford it. I just keep going back, we just, you know, we're already at least 6 months out of sequence right now because of the issues of the first one. This is gonna put us out another 6 months, so maybe by 2020, we'll have this, maybe not.
I just can't, every time we come up with something, we get objections and hand waving and I just.
Okay, yeah, we get it, Mike. All right,
Because there are other issues, there are timing issues. There's the issue of, it's been a couple of years since we made the ask, and people have given us money in good faith, you know, some to the tune of $100,000. And at this point, I don't think they really want to hear, they have to wait another 6 or 8 months, because summertime, everyone's all jammed up. We've got someone filling a slot right now. That's another factor. In summer, even if we put it out to bid, we get a whole lot of people saying, no, I got someone Rich's house to build. Right now, we have someone. Put this off, if you vote against this tonight, we may be looking at another year before we have it in wintertime, when we find a very qualified builder who has a time slot available. I really beg of you. We've been working on this for 5 or 6 years. We've really sharpened our pencils. We've given up a lot of things, but we're very happy with what we've got. We'd love to see you prove this, because we have someone who can do it now.
No, and I support the builder completely. I think I just would like to see, like I said, there was no time for us to go over any of this. So I walked into it thinking that it was the bid was the bid. If we had that bid in front of us and then had a list of extras or whatever you modified after, then it would be much clearer. It would make a very easy decision for me, at least.
All of our meetings are public, so if you wanted that information, anyone is welcome to join our meetings.
I'm not sure we can remember all of the extras. I mean, one general extra was, we had a dumbwaiter. We were looking to actually occupy that and make use of it as we have in the past. But it had kind of slipped through the cracks that no one had added plywood storage for boxes of books. That's a fairly big job. That was added on. There were many add-ons, lights so that you can use that attic. And there were many things that this builder was willing to do and was a little bit surprised and really hadn't been apprised of, but now he is. And we're real happy with his willingness to take on these extras.
I haven't heard it said exactly, but I'm getting the feeling that the difference in the price is because of change in the specs after the bid, or at the optional things that were done. Is that a correct assessment?
That's probably 80-90%.
And that should have been in the original bid, options. You don't negotiate after.
Well, I guess I'm wondering, everyone bid the same
If you wanna
project.
do it the first time.
This was something that was negotiated after you had chosen a contractor?
We
Is
had
that,
selected him based on his original bid. We
Okay.
met with him, we talked about
Okay,
changes.
that-
We
that-
would
that's
have
what
to
I'm
make
trying to-
Because we were inside our budget envelope, if you will. And he added them in and gave us a not to exceed, and we said, great, let's move forward with this plan. I mean, I still
Okay.
go back to, it's still the lowest bid.
Mhm.
It is still the lowest bid with the additions that he's put in and the not to exceed price. So it's like, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure where we go.
No, I think it's good. Like I've said, I think it's perfect if we just had a list of extras. That's all that I would like to see, is just a list of, so that we can see what the original bid was and it was.
So I offer a solution here. How about you're looking at a 30 grand difference as your surprise this evening? Is that correct?
Yes.
How about you just approve the original amount, and for that 30 grand, we can go back to down the road?
I'd be very comfortable doing that.
yeah, I'd be fine with that too.
Yep. I'd be.
So in the end, it's still gonna be the same amount of money.
Well, if they do the
If
extras.
it's
Yeah.
enough, you don't
Yeah.
Go back with changes.
Yeah, only if we
With
approve it.
with request
Yeah.
for changes. That's fine.
Yeah, no, I would
Yeah,
be.
yeah, I think
100%
everyone's
comfortable
going to be a lot more comfortable with
That's
that.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
with
All
that.
right, what's that number?
Yeah.
What number are we at now?
I'm gonna, I guess it's 3095.
3095 is what it was, because it's exactly 30,000.
It was 30,000.
Yep.
And then we'll come back to you later
With the
for
change.
approval to spend our own money.
That's the way it should have been done to begin with.
We just figured.
Okay, then I will make a motion to amend my previous motion to award the general contractor contract for the addition and renovation of the Bass Harbor Memorial Library to New Yankee Builders for the not to exceed amount of $309,500.
Well, second.
But I just want to make sure that when they do come back with change orders, they're not going to get hassled.
No, they'll, if they have additional
Yeah.
items that they want to add to
Okay,
their build, then that's
Okay.
additional items that they want to add to their build.
It's been moved and seconded to award the general contractor contract for the addition and renovation of the Bass Harbor Memorial Library to New Yankee Builders for the not to exceed amount of $309,500. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Tremont Bridges project.
Our state resident has been very late.
I'm assuming that's why you're here. Okay, yeah, if you could speak to us, that would be great.
I do have a set of plans with me if you ever wanted to look at it.
Okay,
Pretty much, we've got the 3 projects, replacing the bridge behind you. And we're putting a sidewalk, from about the front of the school to, Flatiron Bridge.
Flatiron Road, yeah.
And then we're replacing Marsh Bridge as well. The contractor was CPM, that was a little bigger. They started, 2 weeks ago.
move the boulder today.
It was older today. I think it was heavier than what they expected.
I was wondering how that,
And, the boulder is gonna be moved back. They're gonna have a 110-ton crane when they do it next time.
they didn't move it very far, did they?
No, they just moved it off to the side and to the back.
Yeah. I saw them putting it in slings. I tried to get back to get a picture of it and it was done. I didn't make it.
They broke a couple slings.
How did they? Must have been exciting.
This project here is gonna be this winter, the Tremont Bridge. The in-stream work window runs to about April 9th. But the temporary detour will be out of that area anyway. The temporary detour is this bridge right beside it. That's why we're moving that rock. It's called the Maybe Bridge. It's gonna span about 150 feet, so we'll be out of the in-stream work window at low tide. So we'll be able to get in there and take it
Okay.
out after April 9th. And that one will probably go till May, June timeframe. I'm assuming, I haven't got an updated schedule for the other 2 projects, but I'm assuming the summer time, they're gonna do the sidewalk portion of the job, and then, after September, after Labor Day, they can work on the other bridge. That is a 60-day closure, and that's a detour around,
It's the same contractor doing both bridges, correct?
all 3.
All 3
same
projects,
contract.
yeah. When's the temporary bridge supposed to be in use, do you know?
They wanted to get it in before New Year's, but it's, the subcontractors are a little slower than what they, we still got to put up temporary lighting. I don't suspect before mid-January,
Okay, so soon though.
and that'll be 1 lane traffic with traffic lights.
Okay.
How many hours a day you work?
They're working about 7 to 4.
What's the temporary gonna be for width and rating?
Any legal load, so whatever Tremont Road is waiting for, that would be what it would be waiting for. And I think it's a 2-lane wide bridge. I'm guessing 22 feet
The
maybe.
temporary is gonna be?
Yes.
Wow.
It'll be enough, it'll be enough to, one-way traffic, it'll be enough to get a trail truck through it. Boats, I'm guessing, you guys haul quite a few boats across. I've seen quite a few already.
Yeah.
In the past 2 weeks. I'm guessing they'll get through. I don't know for sure, you know.
22 feet, I think most boats around here will be.
I know
Yeah,
there's
I
concern
can
on
imagine.
lobster cars, floats and that stuff there.
I could check to see what width we asked for. Like, you know, sometimes we ask for a certain, maybe 15 feet or something like that.
And they're not gonna cut down the tree.
The elm tree stays.
Yay,
It's
make
not-
it back.
It's not legal, no.
Making that corner on a big vehicle, are they gonna be able to make that corner?
We're gonna be putting, we gotta take some of the curving out in front of the school.
Mhm.
And we're gonna hug the power pole on one side and of course the tree on the other, with a barrier, so.
Okay.
You can't hit that.
So you either take out the tree or you take out the building or something goes on?
No, you're gonna hit barrier, the concrete barrier in between. Oh, they're 3 or 4. Oh, well, boats, yeah.
Tractor trailer?
Tide's not that high, Elaine. Tide doesn't get that high there yet.
We shouldn't be that close to the building.
I'm more concerned about the tree.
The tree, yeah.
Tree's a big deal.
Tree will be, I think the tree's way higher. You'd probably take down power poles and power lines before you get the tree.
That's okay.
So we're trying to move those as well right now.
Go ahead, Keith.
So I kind of bombarded the gentleman last week at the school board meeting. I apologize for that, but I had some concerns about the subcontractor and I just wanted to get an opportunity to deal with it. But I had concerns with trucks turning into the school and on Marsh Road.
Yep, the school, I talked to them about, they can't, I told them they couldn't turn around in the school. They said they'd make sure their subcontractors would know. Marsh Road, it's a legal road, I can't stop that.
Okay, I still have concerns with that. And then, it seems to me, I was concerned with the contractors, employees, personal vehicles straddling the side of the road, they're not strobe lights, they don't have any type of indications of commercial vehicles, but I think they barricaded that off now, is that the solution for that?
Well, they've put it, there's no shoulders, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to work on the road without being in the road. I've told them to try to keep their personal vehicles off as far as they can. They've been parking right there where that church sign is, in between where the local artist house is.
Well, I just, that's my opinion, that if it's a commercial construction site, they should be there. I just don't think, I don't know how to word it, I guess, they should either be strobed or lighted, or if they're on the site of the construction site, then they should be working, not just employees parking the vehicles. I don't know if there's a way for them to move. One, it's line of sight, people can walk in between that line of vehicle, and it's just less distraction to build that extra unnecessary vehicles aren't there. But again, I realize you work with DOT and not a private contractor, that's just some concerns I had. And then, the other thing was, and again, he probably can't control this, but I think it'd be very important to emphasize on the contractors doing the project to halt their, any construction or vehicle traffic during those 2 key 10-minute windows in the morning and the afternoon when buses are entering and exiting. I don't think it's a lot to ask. I really don't. And first of all, with all the excess traffic of the helicopter parents coming in, getting the kids and buses coming in and out, I don't think it's going to be as productive anyhow. So if they kind of remove themselves from the situation, let traffic flow, and they can get back to work. I know it's a lot to ask, but if we're talking about an 8-month project, There's a lot of occurrences where there could be a fender bender or worse in that situation.
The only issue with that is, I'm assuming my people in Augusta have already came to the town and talked to them about the project prior to it going out to bid.
Yes.
Just like you guys were talking about bidding prior. If we ask the contractor, we've already got stipulations inside the contract that say,
Because I'm pretty sure we've talked about all these concerns with Lee and some of the other people. I'm just not sure that as many times as you change the deadline, the type of bridge, the location, contractor, I don't think a lot of this has gotten conveyed through.
well, unfortunately, that wasn't in the contract.
Yeah.
And if we go to the contractor now and ask them for that, it's gonna be a change order, it's gonna cost money. And
I just think it's good business. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand. I think if, but, and again, I know you're DOT, you're not the contractor, but, they are working in the immediate area of a school with young kids, parents, buses.
Keith,
I just think, what's that?
why don't you stop by and talk to the contractor and explain it to him?
No,
You're the
I think
fire
it's
chief.
something that the select board and control of this area should be aware of that.
Okay.
And the final, and what it leads to is also, I know that they're trying to put the trailer over next to the school. I think that's one more option to draw more traffic into a safe area. And that that trailer should be
Not gonna happen. is it?
completely removed from that situation.
we did take the trailer out of the.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought I heard that. Yeah.
We moved it up to our waste area for
Okay.
a couple reasons. One, we didn't wanna wait for the town to be signed.
Okay.
The other one was, the power was readily accessible. If we waited till today for the power for the actual building to be signed, or lease to be signed,
Okay.
then we'd have to get power there, and I don't know if we'd have to go to the council and get a pole on the other side to get the power over there as well. I didn't wanna have them deal with that,
Yeah.
so they asked on Friday after I went to the school board. They asked if they could move it up to our waste area, and I said, yep, go ahead. They moved it up that day.
Okay.
last Friday.
I appreciate that. And it's just some concerns. I think anytime you move like 3, 4, 1, 2 or 3 more vehicles past the school area with young students, kids, buses, I just think there's just that many more opportunities for something to occur. So,
Keith, talk with me after the meeting and I'll go talk to the contractor about the 2 10-minute windows. I'm not sure what time it is.
seems
So,
like, from what I can tell, just since last Thursday's meeting, I think Tim's taking care of a lot of.
okay, so you're all set then?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the most part, when we're working, we're not gonna be in that temporary detour. That, we're gonna be there to build the temporary detour. Unfortunately, that's part of it. But once that temporary detour is open, the only thing we might have to take off of, concrete beams that we're gonna have, or T-walls, stuff like that, somewhere where the crane can't go around the other way because of the power lines. They might have to park in that area, but I'll make sure to do that in times when it's not busy, not a heavy traffic.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, those key times when they're swinging things, those should be times that they're aware of that are just gonna bottleneck the whole town.
No, I get it. I make sure that,
Perfect.
Okay.
other than that, I have invited, Chris, right, to all my progress meetings. I have bi-weekly. Most likely, I'm gonna try to have them all here, Chris, if you guys don't mind. It makes it easier for you to get there, and also you guys don't have to look for the waste area.
Where, can you describe where the waste area is?
Kellytown Road, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's,
On Kellytown Road.
yes, Kellytown Road,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
About a mile.
The one with the office trail is sitting there in plain
Yes.
sight. George Carter's
Beside
property.
Jack Morgan's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just inside David Black's.
Yeah, there you go.
I did give him my number. My number is 557-8914. It's my cell phone number. Although coverage isn't that great down here. if I get the message, I will call you back, or I will,
Could you run the number by one more time?
557-8914.
Thank you.
Did you happen to have the width specs on the bridge there? I
Yes.
just was, I knew we got.
The actual, what we asked for was 11 feet.
Mhm.
But, and the approaches will probably be closer to 11 feet. I mean, they've still got to get to the 20-something feet, and then they're gonna, shimmy it down by the tree and
Mhm.
pole to get it through there.
So
Um,
is that 11 feet per lane or total?
No, that's total.
Total, okay.
Is what we asked for.
You're not gonna get the excavator through
No.
But 11 feet's a lot tighter than 22.
Yeah.
But the bridge is a lot wider than 22.
Yeah.
They did submit theirs, and I can't remember what it was.
Okay.
Oh, so if the bridge is wider than it, you could probably haul
Barricade.
a something through. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the barricades are,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
barricades are only like 3 feet high.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't hit the tree though. Tim,
you.
don't hit the tree.
there. No, don't hit the tree.
Most German trucks, they don't usually stop if they want to go through there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see the damage the next morning.
So make sure it's not on the tree.
Yeah, that's one.
Okay.
That's one of the couple of the stipulations that we had with the contractor was the treaty needs to remain, the rock has to go back.
Anyone have anything else? Thank you very much. I
Thanks.
appreciate it. Okay, item E, wharf construction, fiscal year 20.
So I had asked Justin to be here, but Justin has been drafted in his plow truck duty. So I will stand in and try to give my overview of what we're looking at doing. In 2017, the town applied for a grant from MDOT, a small harbor improvement grant, or a small harbor improvement program, or SHIP program. We received 50-50 match funding, so the total cost of the project is spec'd out at $246,180. MDOT kicking in $122,090, and the town kicking in the same amount. Since that was originally proposed, the harbor master, the town engineer, and I have looked at some broader ideas down there, and basically what it came down to is, would it be more beneficial, instead of just reconstructing one section and improving the load capacity of one section of the wharf, to replace all of the wooden decking of the wharf with concrete decking and get a final product that lasts 40, 50, 60, a very long time, as opposed to getting one section 1 year and then 5 years going back and getting another section. And that's sort of been the approach up to this point, and that would continue to be the approach. I reached out to the same program that originally provided us the funding. They have indicated that it's possible that there is more funding available if we submitted a broader scope letter. There's no guarantee or promise, but they said it couldn't hurt to ask, and it's entirely possible that will happen. And so I just wanted to bring you up to speed, since this has been something that I've been working on, and get any feedback from you. If you hate this idea, tell me, stop, but I want to share that with you. Any questions?
I think that it's a good idea, the concrete on top. I just think it's a very expensive option for the town wharf.
Absolutely.
I think that we're fortunate to have what we do have, and I don't know, I think I would lean more towards just replacing it, doing the work as planned. Or what is it? Do you know what the engineered weight is on it now?
Currently, the area that we are looking at improving, gosh, I wish Justin was here. He knows that, right?
Yeah, I know. That's what I figured.
No, they're trying to bring it up to
Yeah.
80 tons. And I want to see something like 30,
Mhm.
but I'm.
Yep. I just didn't know why we were increasing the, you know, the load capacity for one area, or whether it's an area that should be that capacity now. That's a Justin question, I'm sure.
That's a question.
I'd be a lot more excited about it too if we knew we were getting a grant. We had
Yes.
that information.
Yeah, no,
That would make
for
a big
sure, yeah.
difference.
Well, what you can do is, I mean, you're not giving me the final, like, this is absolutely happening
Mhm.
with the draft motion that I have in here. It's more just permission to keep exploring this.
Mhm.
And, you know, I have a letter ready to go to DOT to ask for that extra funding. And so, you know, if you pass that draft motion, I'll send it. And if you don't, then I probably won't. But you're not committing us to that.
No, it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'd take it out
Yeah.
of it, but
As long as you're committed, you're not committed to anything.
No, if you, no, it's worth a shot.
Very wishy-washy motion.
Yeah. We'll give you permission to look into it.
Yeah, there you go. See if you can find a couple $100,000 in cash.
Yeah.
Well, my understanding is that they just have a set budget every year and they do exactly what they've done with us, with a number of recipients.
Mhm.
And then a lot of recipients, when it actually comes down to making their own side of the match, they can't come up with the money, and so they abandon their program.
Mhm.
And then that money is still available.
Yeah.
And that's when more difference goes.
No, I mean, if they would be willing to match, you know, the kind of numbers in the 300 to 400, then it would look a lot more attractive than,
Yeah.
than what it would be
Yeah.
now, so, yeah.
Someone want to make a motion?
Do we need a motion? Okay, I'll make a motion to authorize the town manager to develop a plan for concrete reconstruction of the decking on the town wharf.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to authorize the town manager to develop a plan for concrete reconstruction of the decking on the town wharf. Any discussion? All those in favor? There you go.
I have a question. Concrete is great and all that kind of stuff, but when you have events and you have tents and stuff, is there gonna be a way that you can hold things down?
Cement blocks.
Put some steel in it, and use magnets.
I mean, there might be a way, if we're looking into it, there might be a way, you know, that people can hold things down.
Yeah, I will ask that question of the engineer.
More pancakes, huh?
How did you know?
Saw that one coming. Okay, let's go on to item F, Cape Road Pruning Project. Is there anyone here from, was it Eagle Arboriculture?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I am requesting this, and I mean, it's my own fault. You know, I've been doing residential tree care for 30 years, not roadside cutting. And I should have taken a hell of a lot more measurements, figured out exactly where that 33 feet and beyond the 33 feet, where the 17 foot from center line is. This is the problem I've run into. And I've had to remove a lot more larger trees than I initially expected. So I'm asking for $6,000. I believe that I might turn a profit if I had $20,000. But I screwed up, and I'm not going to ask for that. And I'm pretty confident I'm still way under the initial bidder. So I'm at your mercy, whatever you want to do. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, I'll answer them.
Okay. Anyone got any thoughts?
What about you guys?
Anytime I ever underestimated, I need it.
Same here.
Yep.
It's a lot of money for planting trees.
How far along in the project are you?
Got a third of a mile left to go, which we would have finished today if we didn't have to plow and do all the stuff, so we'll be back here tomorrow and finish it. Unless there's a punch list where there's something that somebody thinks we didn't do appropriately.
I mean, it looks good.
Yeah.
I'll give it that. It looks phenomenal. But I just think I have a hard time. I mean, I've eaten bids before because I bid too low, and I just have a hard time.
Well, I've eaten bids before too, but not to the tune of double the amount of time I planned on investing in it. So that's why I came here. I mean, like I said, whatever you want to do, it's up to you. I mean, I realize it's a town. If it was some rich guy, they would just figure out how to rewrite it and get the money. But no, yeah. I'm just here to ask. Thanks, and whatever you do, it makes no difference to me. Or I should say, I shouldn't word it that way. The wife told me not to word it that way. Whatever your decision is, I'm grateful for the time and thought that you put into it.
I mean,
What if we met somewhere in the middle?
That's kind of what I was thinking. At least split the difference, maybe.
I know. It's
You were significantly lower. It was a concern.
Well, in the future, I would look at a bid like that, I've decided, and say, can somebody go out there and actually mark and flag some stuff instead of just telling me 33 feet right away? Because you drive down the road and you look at where everything's cut to, and you never imagine that they haven't done a damn thing since the road was put into place. So you end up cutting down trees that are 14, 16 inches in diameter, which I never believed were going. So
I still think that I'm very, very happy with the job you've done, and I think I'm sure we're gonna have more road pruning projects coming up, because there's several in the area. And, I mean, you've done a great job, but I just have a hard time raising a price. I don't think it's, fair to anyone else that bid. I don't.
Go ahead, Mel.
Was the next guy's bid $34,000?
Yes.
So he was like $25,000 under the next guy.
9,000, I was $9,000.
Wow.
But the next guy was $34,000.
Well,
So you guys are already ahead 26 grand, right?
Well, we weren't anticipating doing it at all this year. This is something that came up.
we wouldn't have done it.
If we had it in the budget, it would have
Sounds
been.
familiar. We
Yeah.
just talked about that.
Yeah.
Funny how that happens.
I'm comfortable meeting in the middle because I do think that things pop up that you don't expect and you don't. I also understand where they're coming from as well.
I agree. I've had to eat
You
a
do,
lot
yeah,
of things
yep,
myself, and
yep. Yep.
you don't always come ahead, but hope sometimes you can meet in the middle, and that helps a little bit.
I think that's fair.
I think it's reasonable too. I understand.
3,000?
What's that?
We're saying 3,000 then.
That's
Yep.
what I'm
Yeah.
thinking too.
What do you think, Tony?
I say no more than 3. Yeah.
I'll make the motion to authorize the town manager to pay Eagle Arboriculture an additional $3,000 for the Cape Road pruning project.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to authorize the town manager to pay Eagle Arboriculture an additional $3,000 for the Cape Road pruning project. Any discussion? All those in favor? There you
Thank you.
go. Okay. Item G, Flatiron Road and Lighthouse Roads. You're going to update us on the DOT.
All of the above. So I'll start with Lighthouse Road, you asked me to look into speed bumps. MMA recommends that if you are going to put speed bumps down on a road, that you put that into the ordinance so that those speed bumps cannot be cited as a road defect. If somebody hits a road defect, then it's determined that it's the town's fault, then they can sue the town and we're liable for it. And this is not a legal precedent that's ever been tested in Maine, but nevertheless, to be especially on the safe side, they just say, put it in your ordinance, and then you know that you're in a very strong position. So if you want to put speed bumps on Lighthouse Road, then I recommend that you would amend the traffic and parking ordinance to allow speed bumps on Lighthouse Road. I also looked up did some very quick research on prices, and it would be depending on quality and size and width and et cetera. For temporary speed bumps, you know, taken up when it's winter and we don't want snowplows to hit them, would be anywhere from $100 to $300 per bump.
Per lane?
Well, Lighthouse Road is,
Yeah,
no, it would be the full width of the road,
Okay.
so. I
So,
mean,
yeah, not a lot of money.
the cost, I don't think would be prohibitive. It would be the politics.
Yeah.
Want to do it. And then on Flatiron Road, you have something in your packet. Back in 2014, former town manager Carl Young asked the same question just about that you guys asked. NDOT did perform a speed study, and they determined that 35 miles an hour was the appropriate speed limit for that road. Since that was only 4 years ago, they're not going to do another speed study.
Go ahead, Mel.
I've got a question. I read this and they said that they determined that 35 miles an hour is a okay speed for the Flatiron Road. You guys know that the speed limit is 25 miles an hour starting at the lane south going down my way.
Yeah,
25.
yeah.
And how could it be 35? I don't understand that.
We need to get acceleration in order to miss the stop sign.
Watch for us.
Then it's only, I think it's only 30 on the other side, of it, isn't it? From
30,
the-
35.
From the store down
Yeah,
to
it's
here, it's
35.
Oh, it's 35,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did they say anything about a study, speed limit study on Lighthouse Road too?
Yeah, they are willing to do it. They just want to wait till the summer
Okay.
when the traffic counts are higher, so they actually get good data.
Okay.
I think that I heard from a couple residents that speed box did help out, and maybe
Yeah.
if we,
On Flatiron Road?
yeah,
Yeah.
to have that there once
Well,
in a
we've
while.
also got a speed limit,
Yeah.
electronic speed limit sign that's
Mhm.
coming that
Yeah, well.
apparently they expect us to move it around once in a while.
Yeah, well, the update there is just that we have to, the public works foreman and I have to go to a training before we're allowed to actually receive it. The training is, for me, how to download the data off the box, and for the public works foreman is how to detach the box from a tree and move it from a pole and move it to another pole. I suspect that both of us could figure out these things without the training, but nevertheless,
God,
that's
I
what
would
the state
hope
wants.
so.
And so they haven't even scheduled that training yet, so goodness knows we will.
No comment. If we don't have more luck than that with speed limit signs, maybe we should look into speed bump in the ordinance, as much as I hate speed bumps. But
I'm not a fan of the speed bump thing.
No, I'm definitely not a fan of that.
And I mean, I would like to see, once the no parking signs go up on the Lighthouse Road, because that hasn't even happened yet, we
Yeah.
just decided, what effect will that have? I mean, let's start with that and go from there and see. Also, once the no parking signs go up, then the police can go down there and enforce the parking, which doesn't help the speed factor down there,
Right.
but
Not only that, speed bumps, isn't that gonna slow down emergency vehicles too, that trying to respond to like a fire truck or something going over these things, if they're gonna slow down before they go over each one of these.
hopefully, yeah.
You know, it's gonna slow down.
I think
response time.
if any spot, in my opinion, would be on the lighthouse section that the park
the
owns.
parking.
Right.
On that part would be maybe beneficial, but up on the Tremont Road side of it would be
Right, no.
not as beneficial as that, in my opinion.
I think
Okay.
you're asking for more liability when you put some type of obstruction.
I can't imagine putting in a 35-mile-an-hour speed zone.
No, I know, that's, yeah. Trailer full of traps.
What happens
Everywhere.
when you
Yeah.
hit one of those with a plow around you? Of the speed bump?
You got to be in the storage building. They come up for the winter.
Yeah.
No, but those ones that are permanent in the road. You know,
Pretty much get a stone. and-
Okay.
Lift your plow.
If you see
Okay.
it, right, if you know it's there,
Right.
yeah.
When it comes with snow, you're not gonna know where it is. No.
Does anyone have any interest in drafting an ordinance for the Lighthouse Road to put speed bumps on it, or would you rather wait and see what happens?
I'd rather wait. and see
Wait and
what
see what
happens.
I'd rather wait and see what happens with it.
Works for me too. Okay, item H, election of directors for the Municipal Review Committee. Does anyone know any of these people at all?
I've just heard that, the woman from Bangor has done great things for Bangor, and that's just what I've heard,
I mean,
so.
it's a very nice resume. It's in there, yeah.
My dad works up there, and he told me that because I asked him, I said, you work up in Bangor, so. Said she's done great things for that.
It's good enough for me.
Cool.
I'm gonna make a motion to, we each do our own vote.
No, it's one motion.
One
and then
motion.
I'll take it from there.
I'm gonna make a motion that we elect Catherine Conlow to the position, MRC Board of Directors.
Second?
Been moved and seconded to, let's see, to vote for Catherine Conlow for the Municipal Review Committee Board of Directors. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, and item I, registrar appointment. And apparently we need to reappoint our registrar of voters.
I'll make a motion to appoint Janet Patton as Registrar of Voters for a term of January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2020.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Janet Patton as Registrar of Voters for a term of January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2020. Any discussion? All those in favor? There you go. Town manager report, Chris.
All right, so major emphasis for the last 2 weeks has been road issues, working with the state to fix some signs, fill potholes, et cetera. I've been checking up on that Cape Road pruning work, a couple times a week. Working with CPM constructors on the state resident trailer lease, which that was time well spent apparently. Checking the Dodge Point Road work, the Lighthouse Road signage, drove up and down Lighthouse Road today to figure out how many signs we would need there. Ordering the park lot sign, working on Harbor Drive signage. Some residents have requested new or different signs there. So lots of road stuff. Budget work, we have a new set of office phones installed. There were a few hiccups on installation, but as of today, they are working very well, and I think everyone's pretty pleased with where we are. We have caller ID now, which is really exciting. And then receiving, checking, organizing nonprofit funding requests. So a lot of stuff. Minor stuff going on. I can't remember whether I updated you at a previous meeting about looking into an amendment to the cemetery ordinance. There was no motion, but there was just a question of whether or not you wanted to designate the town manager, you might want to designate the town manager to be able to sell lots. I think at this point that we just amended it, and I think it would be helpful to just have a year at least of with the current ordinance and work through some of the kinks
Okay.
in that. And it's definitely looming agenda items, but already we've found some ways that we can improve our process a little bit, and I think we'll continue to do that. And then, next December, if we're thinking that we want to change it, that seems like a great idea. Kevin shared with me that there's a property owner across the street from the solar array. This is Mike Wagner, who owns that boatyard. And he is interested in purchasing a town-owned piece of property, which is on the same side of the road as the town office. The property is assessed at $23,000, so I assume any sort of purchase price would at least be in that neighborhood, if not higher. And so we were researching on whether or not the town has clear title to this property. I'm gonna use your three favorite words. It was a tax-acquired property from the late 90s and early 2000s. We do not have a clear title history on it, and before we wait to sell it, I would definitely want our attorney to do a title search on this. I think the attorney's fees would be much less than what we would make off of the property, but it's certainly something for consideration.
We don't have to sell it though.
No,
And it's in a pretty valuable area as far as the
Where would it be?
Yeah, where is it?
town office is
I,
concerned.
I was in talking to Mike about some of the paperwork on the solar array for, he needed to sign a right of way for an anchor. And he mentioned to me at the time, he's looking at roughly 100-foot wide strip that goes back about 200 feet, is the way you described it to me. It's quite a bit south, I guess, of the ice skating rink and the parking area for it. It's just a fairly narrow strip near the mobile home. That's all I know about it. But I asked Chris to take a look and
What's the
see if it's-
acreage?
what's that?
It's a fraction of an acre.
Yeah,
An
it's
acre.
probably, maybe half an acre, I guess, roughly. And it's, longer narrow. He's looking for parking or just some overflow storage.
So currently it's
Mainly for
it's
parking.
a separate lot from the rest of it.
Yeah. So,
He's also saying they've got a lot of trouble sometimes with the employees pulling out just line of sight there. And it is a 35-mile-an-hour speed zone. And people might be doing a little over that occasionally. So he said it's been an issue. He was hoping employees and whatever could be able to park there as much as anything. That's what he was telling me.
before I did anything major, I probably will have a phone call with the town attorney, because I have some questions on just I believe you need town meeting approval to sell real property. And I'd want to make sure, so I don't think the select board has that authority.
I don't believe so, yeah.
And so that's really the first question is, can you do it anyway, whether or not you want to? And then if you do decide that you are serious about this, then I would eventually ask for a motion, because it will be, 10 to 20 hours, I would guess, of attorney's work, and that's a big deal.
Usually the purchaser's attorney handles title work. I mean, that's traditional. I mean, if it looks pretty good, they want to be represented themselves doing it. I mean, that's traditional. So that's.
Sure. There's no title in the registry of deeds that shows that the town owns this land.
Okay. Well, it might be worth at least consulting.
Yeah.
So
I won't have that looked.
Yeah.
The first big question. All right, so moving on, working on getting markers out at Hillrest, so you can see where specific cemetery lot sites are by number. It's quite a headache. They're not out there yet. Don't go looking for them, but they will be someday. Lots of Emera paperwork for the solar array. I've been working with both our attorney and our temporary attorneys on the land use violation litigation. We've received our draft audit materials, and I've been reviewing those and answering some questions for the auditors. I've had a lot of correspondence with Emera and Real Term Energy on the streetlight LED conversion. That'll definitely be something that comes before you before any major steps occur. Been working with committees to get their budget requests in. They were due on Friday, and some of them made the deadline. Working with the library treasurer and clerk of the works and architect on the library general contractor contract. Had an interview with Sarah Hinckley on the Seal Code Fish Ladder. Article was in the Islander last Thursday. It's a good article. Go take a look. spent about 3 hours on a ride along with the assessor, went around checking out properties and learning about, what our assessors do when they're not in the office. Preparing for tonight's meeting, emails with MDOT officials about the work inspection project, and then I attended last week's school committee meeting, which unfortunately didn't happen for lack of quorum, but in any case. Office staff was tremendously helpful in receiving, checking, organizing nonprofit funding requests, especially those signatures. Researching the status of this tax acquired property that may or may not be in the town's possession. Organizing, that sort of led into a new project on organizing files in the vault, which is always a good winter activity. Responding to lots of audit questions, and then December is your month to get your almost half price park passes. So I'll put in a little plug, go get your park passes. Public works projects, plowing, sanding, salting, etc. Also replace the hydraulic motor on truck 2. Cutting brush when the weather hasn't been totally miserable. Working on trucks, and then helping to haul out the ferry terminal and Seal Cove floats. Our harbor master drove to and from Bangor for that new hydraulic motor, and he pulled out the floats on Seal Cove and ferry terminal, fixing the electric hoist as best as he can. It needs a bigger, more expensive fix, which will be in the next few weeks. Plowing, he's done a lot of plowing like right now. Working with the engineer and me on the wharf reconstruction. Had a report of a stolen boat trailer, and then lots of trap cleanup. And then some priorities over the next couple weeks: budget work, economic development strategy, and then working on the plastic bag and polystyrene ordinances. So the highlights, but a million other things will come up, I'm sure.
No doubt. Thanks, Chris. Suggestions for the next meeting? Next meeting date.
I'll make a motion to schedule the next regular meeting for Monday, January 7th, 2019 at 6 PM at the town.
It's been moved and seconded to confirm the next meeting date for Monday, January 7th, 2019 at 6 PM at the town office. All those in favor?
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Okay.
You have your battery stuff?
Yeah, just check it and make sure I got all the spots, but I think I did.
Oh, you.
I already did.
I was wondering why you had that there. Then.
Jamie, I want you to know, I did not write this. I did not spell your name.
Oh, yeah.
I know how to spell your name.
Yeah, I know. Well, I just
Mara,
circled it this
or whoever.
Yeah.
Mara.
Just so that.
Does not know how to spell your name.
Oh, wait. Slippery.
I'm gonna turn off that.
Yeah.
That's wet, right?
So it's 0.23.
Yeah.
Like, go back to like 1990. For you?
Oh, yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was 90.